I'm standing beside my 2004 Dodge Ram 2500 with the 5.9 Cummins diesel. I want to answer this question for you. Should you buy one of these later model Cummins? They're still a good investment. They're still a good vehicle. Stay tuned to find out. To give you a little history on this truck, so this truck was originally my grandfather's. He purchased it new in 2004 from a Dodge dealership. I remember when I was a young kid, young teenager, used to ride in this truck all the time. So many great memories. Used to go camping, pulling a fifth wheel. Used to go to auctions, and just so many great memories. When my grandfather asked if I would like to have this truck, obviously I said yes. I could not turn down the opportunity. Very grateful and fortunate enough to have it and have it in my garage, my collection. It's one of my most prized possessions, just based on sentimental value. To me, it's irreplaceable. I, love maintaining this thing. I love keeping it on the road. Just being the caretaker for it now it's really a privilege, and one I do not take lightly. So with that being said, let's take a look at the truck, kind of give you some specs on it. We'll go through and see if you're in the market for a used diesel, if this is a good buy or not. I think it is. I'll let you form your own opinion, give you some pros and cons on them. But for the most part, they're really good vehicles. And especially with all the new emission stuff on newer trucks, this has none of that. So just from that alone, to me, it's a no-brainer. Hey, this is a really good buy for a diesel vehicle. So let's take a look at the truck. So we'll go ahead and pop the hood here. I'll show you the engine, give you some specs on it, and just kind of show you what's underneath here. It's a little bit dirty, so I need to clean it up a little bit. It has been sitting for a little while, but this is the infamous 5.9 liter Cummins. It's a wonderful powertrain, wonderful engine, very reliable. This particular engine has 235 horsepower, has 460 foot-pounds of torque. Not the highest, but it does the job. Towing capacity on this is about a little over 13,000 pounds, I believe. So this truck weighs almost 6,000 pounds, so it's a beast. It's definitely a beast. The weak spot on these vehicles is the transmission. The 48 RE transmission is 4-speed, 4 gears. Is definitely the weak spot. This one is starting to shift a little bit funny. I need to change the transmission fluid again. I'm gonna do that soon. I'll make another video for that, but if it wasn't for that, this would be just a bulletproof vehicle, I believe. Even the electronics on these old Daimler Chrysler vehicles, believe it or not, on this truck, they've held up pretty well. I do have one issue on this. I guess you could say it's kind of electronic based. Not really. It's kind of it's a sensor. So on this particular truck, the washer fluid sensor has gone bad. I'm very picky on this truck. I want to use OEM parts. I'm having a hard time finding this particular sensor new. I've called multiple dealerships, tried to outsource it in multiple different ways. It's very difficult to find. There's some used ones, but I kind of want to get a new one if I can, or remanufactured, but they're very hard to find. I might have to bite the bullet here and just get a aftermarket, but I want to try to keep this as original as possible. Other than that, this truck has been well maintained. I know it doesn't seem that way right now. It's kind of dirty, but it's an amazing vehicle. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up for you. We'll see if there's any blow-by. I'm not gonna spoil surprise. I already know the answer to this, but let you see if there's any blow-by or not. So let's go ahead and start it up with the camera here. All right, so let's check and see if there's any blow-by. That's kind of a sign of a healthy diesel engine, if there's blow-by or not. It's not the end-all be-all test, obviously, but it's a really good test. If you're buying a diesel vehicle, whether it's a truck, car, or whatever, you need to check this. It's very important you do. Blow-by is caused by, basically piston rings that are going bad. You got engine blow-by, oil gets through that, can cause issues, depending on what kind of car you have. The mileage and all that. You can go quite a while with bad piston rings, but just depending on the engine will determine how far you can go, how many oil consumption issues you're going to have, all that good stuff. So we'll see if there's any blow-by on this one. gonna pull the cap here. Zero blow by. This thing does not burn a drop of oil. It's amazing. It only has 152,000 miles though, so but no blow by. Cap's moving a little bit from just the fan right here, pushing the air up, but yeah, perfectly healthy. So we discussed the major issue on these trucks. Mechanically, the transmission, they do have issues, that's no secret. But another weakness, negative you could say, this truck is 20 years old. The cosmetics on these vehicles, once these trucks start aging, it starts deteriorating and aging pretty fast. This truck spent its entire life in the Southeast, originally in South Carolina. I moved it to Georgia with me. Now it's in Florida. But there are some surface rust issues, mainly from the paint failing. My grandfather used this truck as a truck. He went through woods, he pulled campers. You know, it does have some dents and dings, does have some scrapes. Those scrapes have, you know, turned into paint failure, and now there's some surface rust. There's no structural rust, obviously, but, you know, cosmetically it doesn't look the best. Eventually, I do want to get this truck repainted, kind of do a complete restoration on it. It's going to be pretty expensive. This is a lot of truck to paint, and to do a good quality paint job is going to cost quite a bit. I haven't got a quote for it yet, but that's definitely going to be in the works soon. Definitely want to get it restored and repainted. So let's take a look around the truck. I'll show you some of the, you know, cosmetic failures on this. Nothing crazy, but just, you know, minor or some major imperfections that you probably would consider. A lot of the imperfections and surface rust and, you know, paint deterioration are actually on the bed itself. This is a long bed truck, so the bed was quite exposed, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But I actually remember when this particular damage happened. I was there for it. I was a teenager. My grandfather was backing his fifth wheel camper in, turned too sharp, dented the tailgate in. Now it's starting to fail paint-wise, starting to get some surface rust everywhere from, you know, scrapes from tree branches and all that stuff. So this was one of my grandfather's biggest regrets. He says that he wishes he would have got a spray-in bed liner. I don't blame him. Obviously, I'm going to get this taken care of, cleaned up, get some iron remover. Eventually, I want to get this repainted, get a bed liner in there. But for now, it's going to stay kind of gross. But so it is a long bed truck, so a lot of the truck is exposed on the back half. You know, going through woods and stuff on a long bed's kind of risky. You're opening yourself up for scrapes and dents, which, you know, this truck does have quite a bit of that. But like I say, it was used. My grandfather said his second biggest regret on this truck was not buying better steps. So I agree with him. These have held up pretty well. These are original to the truck. He had the dealer install them when he bought it in 2004, but it's time for new ones. That's definitely an upgrade I'm going to get. Other than that, it's pretty good. Typical white paint issues. See the clear coat starting to fail on the hood here, on the top as well. That's your typical white paint issues. Other than that, you know, it's in pretty good shape. I'm going to do a video soon on the headlights. I'm going to restore them for you and show you the best kit I have that I've used and see if it actually works or not. But all right, let's check out the interior and I'll show you some of the things in there. So a lot of people criticize Daimler when they, you know, had ownership of Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, when Mercedes owned these brands and was under their umbrella, for their interior quality or lack thereof. There is a lot of cheap plastic in these vehicles. Not the best interior quality. It's held up pretty well though. So, you know, the dash on this is hollow, not the best quality plastic. The dashes on these were known to crack. I think it was fixed around this time this truck was produced. I think, you know, 2003 back was the major issues for these. This dash is in perfect shape. I do keep covers on there, so it does help a lot. There is some fading on some of the trim. Other than that, though, you know, it's in pretty good shape. Nothing crazy. The actual cloth seats are still intact, pretty good. Driver's seat's got a little rip in there, starting to show a little bit of the metal seat coming through, but other than that, not too bad. You know, I'll go ahead and fire this truck up and we'll see, but Once again, it only has 152,000 miles. You can see the low wash warning there. That's from the sensor that I got to get replaced. I got to find it first. AC works in this. The blower motor is starting to get a little bit weak. You can hear it once you go like on the third highest setting. You can hear the blower kind of working hard. Yeah, fourth setting, it starts making that noise. So definitely needs to be replaced. That's a known weakness on a lot of Dodge products, not just this truck. But other than that, everything in here is functional. Yeah, everything works the way it should. Really impressive. You know, even there's no pixels that are starting to die out on these displays. Radio display's fine. So it's been a good truck, still is a good truck, and I really hope to enjoy this for many more years. So we'll go on the road, drive it for a little bit, and we'll do our final thoughts and, you know, answer the question, should you buy one of these in 2024? Is it still a good buy? Is it worth it? All these minor issues, major issue, if you consider transmission, eventually you are going to have to get that replaced at some point. So this has 152,000 miles. Transmission acts a little funny. It still shifts fine. Sometimes it acts a little rough. Doesn't shift, you know, or doesn't come out of gear smooth. But eventually I'm going to get that, you know, rebuilt at some point. Right now I'm just going to keep servicing the fluid and see how long it can get me. So let's go ahead and get on the road, do a little quick drive, and see what you think. All right, as we're setting off here, so just kind of give you some more specs. This truck, the fuel economy, it's not terrible considering the size of this thing. This thing's almost 6,000 pounds. It gets about 18 miles to the gallon. That's about the best I can get, about 18.3. That's about the best I've been able to get with this thing. Not terrible. I mean, you know, it's not much worse than modern trucks. Really can't complain with it. Holds about 25 gallons of fuel, so it's quite a bit. When diesel's, you know, almost $4 a gallon, that's quite a bit to fill it up. But, you know, the range on this driving range is, I think it's about 380 miles or so. Not terrible, but we'll just kind of go through. I'll let you kind of hear some of the sounds of it as we get on the main road, and just kind of enjoy these concrete pillars that's holding up the Dames Point Bridge. It's pretty neat driving through here. Nice Sunday drive. There's not a lot of creaks and rattles in this truck for the most part. You know, when you go over rough pavement or rough, you know, dirt roads, you can kind of hear some squeaks in the suspension rather. But nothing crazy, just the suspension's pretty rigid on these trucks, heavy duty. It's definitely not a luxury vehicle. I mean, you feel a lot of the road imperfections. It's just that heavy duty suspension kind of comes with the territory there. We'll kind of get a good little start here. Well, these turbo diesels are pretty powerful. It's pretty smooth power too. So really enjoy it. I mean, honestly, I enjoy it. If fuel wasn't so high, I could enjoy driving this daily. And if it wasn't so hard to park, it's this long bed, it's kind of a pain to park. But if it wasn't for those two factors, I would drive this daily. What do you guys think? Is it worth buying in 2024? Let's wrap up the video and I'll give you my final thoughts on it. Regardless of your opinion on this 2004 Dodge, I think we can all agree that we're going to miss these we're probably already missing these simple vehicles. I certainly miss them. The modern vehicles are just way too complicated. Too many issues, too many quality issues. Electronics are cheaply made in these cars, and they just constantly fail. I wish we could get back to old school reliability and simplicity that this truck offers. You know, buttons, simple gauges, stuff that's going to hold up, stuff that's, you know, tried and true. over decades, it's held up and it's proven to, remain reliable. Wish we could get back to that. I see some manufacturers, trying to reverse course a little bit, trying to give you more physical controls, because everyone hates touch-sensitive controls and, infotainment controls. It's just not fun to deal with when you're driving a car daily. It's very cumbersome. I appreciate cars like this. I hope I can keep this particular truck on the road for many years, because I can't get this anymore. I can't go to the dealership and buy a brand new truck that has these features. As we're wrapping up the drive here, I just want to mention, obviously we saw there's no blow-by in this particular truck. This engine is really refined, really smooth. It's smooth idling, it's smooth driving. I can tell you on the highway going 60, 70 miles an hour, it just cruises. It's just the perfect truck to cruise in on the highway. Let's go ahead and get into the final thoughts and considerations for this truck. So there you have it. There's an overview of the 2004 Dodge Ram 2500 with the Cummins. Would you buy one of these? I know I interjected a lot of my personal bias and personal opinion considering the sentimental value of this truck. With that being said though, if my grandfather had not purchased this truck and I was not able to acquire it from him, I would still look at purchasing one of these on the used market. They're great vehicles. They're known for longevity, reliability. This diesel engine is very simple, very straightforward. It's basically a tractor engine if you think about it. Doesn't have all the crazy emission stuff, the DPF and all that fails. I see a lot of guys buying these $80,000, $90,000 diesel trucks and it's leaving them stranded on the side of the road. All the software and just all the emissions crap is really killing those. So if you don't want to deal with all that, get one of these. I think you'd be happy with it. There's plenty of examples of these trucks going 5, 6, 700,000 miles online. On YouTube, there's a couple of YouTubers that have had this particular, I think same year as this one actually, over 1 million miles. A lot of hotshot drivers. They're just great. Very low maintenance for the most part. Just do your oil changes. Service that transmission, because that's going to be one that's going to get you at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when on that. Just unfortunate. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. This channel is a huge blessing for me. I've always wanted to produce content like this. I just never had the time or skill, really. I'm still learning. If you like this video, just please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. It's just a huge honor for me doing this. I really enjoy it. I love vehicles, love machines, love anything with a motor in it. Just love that connection between man and machine. It's so cool. Nothing like it, really. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.